Alrighty, my friends. Today's lesson, proportions. What are proportions? All they are is a way of writing out two ratios. And in a lot of cases, and actually all of the cases, finding one of the missing numbers from one of your ratios. This is what I mean. By the way, if you don't know what ratios are, please go to the video prior to this to learn a little bit about ratios. So, proportions. Let's say I were to draw a car. This is a made-up question, my friends. Straight from Neil's playbook. 3. We got 2. We got 7, and we have X. Okay. So, here's your first question on proportions. You ready? An engineer, designer, I don't know what you want to call him, was given the task to make what's it called, out of clay, a little miniature version of the 2022, 2 years ahead, Lamborghini. So he's making a clay sculpture miniature version of the 2022 Lamborghini, right? Because he needs to present it to the company at Lamborghini and to start distribution of it, right? So he makes it out of clay and he gets this right here. That looks like a real good Lamborghini. Look at that. And he measures the clay, and the clay is, let's say, 2 feet. No, it's 2 inches. 2 inches high and 3 inches long. His clay sculpture, his little miniature clay sculpture, right? That's your first ratio. The height is 2 inches, the length is 3 inches. He then takes it to his company, his bosses. He presents it to them. They like the new design, so then they start creating the car. They're actually manufacturing the car. They sell the cars, right? The actual car's real life measurement is 7 feet high and an unknown number long. And now comes the question, how long is the Lamborghini? How long is the 2022 Lamborghini? That's a proportion question right there, my friends. Welcome to math. This type of question, you've seen it throughout your school's lifetime, my friends. Y'all have seen this type of question during the WASL, during the pre-test, during the everything. You have seen this 100 times. It's those type of questions that just have your mind all tripping, right? It gives you a question like, if you have 1 banana and 3 oranges in a basket, how many bananas would you have in a basket that holds 16 oranges, this and that. This is a traditional proportion questions. Now let's figure out how to solve these type of questions, how to solve that missing number that they always give us, that they want us to find. Well, ratios. We know it's something to something, right? In this case, they gave us our first ratio without you even knowing. The clay sculpture, it is 2/3. What's the 2 represent? It represents the height of the vehicle, right? You could probably put that on the side if you'd like, the height, right? Or just have it mentally in your head. I'll write it down for now. And what does the 3 represent? The length of the little clay sculpture, right? What you need to do is always find your 2 ratios and set it up. I call it the setup. The setup, all it is 1 ratio here, equal sign, and then the other ratio over here. Now the first ratio is obviously given, 2/3. What's the second ratio? Well, this is what helps to write this out here on the side. What does the 2 represent? Well, we know it represents the height. This section up here is now designated for heights. And this section over here is represented for the lengths. So, what would be my other ratio? Well, we got to go to the other car, right? and we know the height is 7 and the length is question mark, unknown, right? It's a variable. It's x. Don't worry about that letter right now, the x part. Just put it as your secondary ratio. Just display it. We know 7 is representing height. Where should the height go? Well, the height should be across its other height friend, which is 2. So the 7 should go there, right? Bloop. And what is the length of the real car? I don't know. They gave us an x, but whatever. That's what you want to do first always, is your setup. This, my friends, is your setup. A ratio next to the other ratio. All right? Don't go off and be crazy and put like, oh, the 2 is here and the 7 is there, and I don't know, I'll just put the x here and then the 3 there. I don't know. It looks like the setup, Neil. All right, I'm done. No. You have to pay attention to where your spots are. If your first ratio is 2/3, height over length, then the other ratio should be height over length. Okay? Now that you've done your setup, now comes the math, my friends. Now comes the math. So this is what you got to do. Cross, multiply, then divide. This is a little method I created. Actually, I didn't create it. It was typical, right? But everybody has different ways of doing their proportion problems. This is mine. Is after you do your setup, look for your diagonals. Look for the numbers that have numbers across from each other diagonally. So what I mean by that is, look at the 2. What's the number diagonal from it, across diagonal from it? It's an x. It's not a number, so avoid that one. So look at the other one, 3 and 7. Oh yeah, 2 numbers. You found your diagonal. Multiply them now. All right. What is 3 times 7? 7, 14, 21. 21. Right? You want to cross multiply first. Obviously, the numbers, you have to multiply the only things that you can, right? Like we just said, you can't multiply 2 times x. So that's why we went to the other side, 3 times 7, right? That could be multiplied, and we came up with 21. What you then do with that answer, 21, is you divide it by your third number, right? 21 divided by x? No, x is not a number. It's a letter, right? The 2 is that third number. So we divide 21 divided by 2. On this worksheet, you are allowed to use a calculator, okay, my friends? It's totally fine. So take out the calculator if need be for whatever question you need to answer. In this specific case, our answer from our cross multiplication, 3 times 7, which was 21, divided by 2 comes out to being 10.5. My friends, that answer that you get is that missing number. You just found the length of this car. It is 10 and a half feet long. All right? You found it. All you have to do is cross multiply whatever that answer is, divide by the third number. Whatever you get, boom! It's your final answer. Pretty cool, huh? I do want to show you this trick right here. You guys should never get a question like this wrong. Well, you could get it wrong, but you should never ask me, Neil, did I get this correct or not? There's an easy way to check your answer always. Do both cross multiplications now and see what you get. 3 times 7, what does it equal? 20. Ooh, not 21. Not 25, I meant. It's 21. 3 times 7 is 21. Now cross multiply the other side. 2 times 10.5. What do we get? 21. That's when you know you have the correct answer, and then you move on. What did we conclude here, my friends? What we concluded was you're going to be given different type of word problems, but the goal is to always find your first ratio. All right? Always find your first ratio and write that ratio, whether it's apples to oranges, right? From one basket. Then on the other ratio, one of these are going to be missing from that specific ratio, and it's totally fine. That's normal, right? That's why we want to do this setup. Let's say they don't give us the apples, but they gave us, I don't know, 16 oranges. 16 oranges. You now have done the setup. Now all you got to do is cross multiply and divide. Let's do another example. How about that? I know everybody loves doing examples. Okay. This is the hard part, is me writing everything. Let's see if they have any good examples here. Oh, this is a good one right here. A map scale. I'm reading right here, by the way. A map scale says that 2 inches equals 150 miles. What actual distance would a map distance of 5 inches represent? Ooh, those word problems, man. Don't they just sound complicated? I know. But let's do this. A map scale says that 2 inches equals 150 miles. What actual distance would a map distance of 5 inches represent? So, what is my first ratio? They always give you one. A map scale says that 2 inches equals 150 miles. What does the 2 represent? Inches. What does the 150 represent? Miles. All right. What do they want to know? They want to know what actual distance would a map distance of 5 inches represent. What does that 5 represent? Inches. So it should go up top to the inches section. What do they want us to find? Is the actual distance, aka the miles, in real life from this map. Look at that, my friends. I just did my setup. The setup is the hardest part to proportions, not the math. The math is easy. 150 times 5 is 750. Divided by 2 is 375 miles in real life. That's how much 5 inches from that specific map. That's how much it is in real life. 375 miles. Cross multiply, we got 750. Divided by 2 gave me my answer, 375. The math is the easy part, my friends. You cross multiply, then divide. Simple. The difficult part of proportions is the setup, where they give you that word problem and you're supposed to write out your first ratio equals the other ratio, that second ratio with a missing variable. That is the hard part to the proportions. I admit that. And the only way you guys are going to get this down is by just doing a whole bunch of examples. Let's do the next one. How about that? Connie drove 276 miles on 12 gallons of gasoline. How many miles per gallon did she get on the trip? I was reading right here, by the way. So, Connie drove 276 miles on 12 gallons of gasoline. That's my first ratio. 276 on 12 gallons. How many miles per gallon did she get on the trip? Ooh, this one's a little bit more challenging. All right, so how many miles per gallon? What did they give us? They didn't even give us a literal number for my second ratio, but you guys should know what it is. It is 1. How many miles per gallon? Well, first things first. I forgot. I skipped this step. My bad. 276. What does it represent? Miles. And the 12. What does it represent? Gallons. All right. So when they ask us how many miles, I already have the question right there. They want me to find the miles, so I could immediately be like, my X is going to go up to the miles section. Because that's what they said. They're asking me, yo, how many miles, blah, 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 blah. I already know they didn't give me the miles. That's what they want me to find. But now, if I know I need to find the miles, what's the number that they gave me for the gallons? Well, that's where a little trickery comes in. Per means 1. Per gallon. Per mile. Per whatever, right? That means for every gallon, for every 1 gallon, how many miles can you get from that car? That's just a little trick right there. Per means 1, in case you come across it. But yeah, you cross multiply 276 times 1. You obviously get 276. 276 divided by 12, and we get our answer of 23. That's how many miles you get from 1 gallon. My friends, do the setup from the worksheets. Go online if you need be. Type in proportion worksheets and go do 100 more setups for 100 more word problems. Because the setup is the hard part, I promise you. On the worksheet, I know the first 20 are just the math. They already gave you the setup. You just need to cross multiply and solve for x. But that's just to get the math down. Make sure you got that solid. The rest of the worksheet is those setup problems. You need to do the setup problem in order to find the answer first. So, but there's only a couple of those. I really recommend going and finding some more examples out there. I'm going to be obviously uploading some more worksheets specifically for proportions, but that might take a minute. So do yourself a solid and go look up examples for yourself. Hope you all enjoyed, and please hit me up if you need any help.